Welcome back to Discourse, the weekly occult and esoteric podcast hosted by myself, Abammon the Great, and Dr. Anna Stone. This week, Dr. Stone and I discuss the differences in how we approach spellcraft, our personal gnosis into why we think our methods work, as well as detail some of our recent successes within our developing magical framework. Breathe in, young magus, and let the work begin. All right, welcome back to another episode of Discourse. We've been on a brief hiatus for 2 weeks. A lot of intense stuff that has happened in our personal mundane lives. This is a busy season for me personally at work, and you know, it's also winter, holidays, finals, that kind of thing. But we also anybody that listened to the last episode, we ended it and we were talking about how we were going to bring hypnosis into a magical setting, and we did, and it's been insane.
Pretty insane.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It kind of knocked, I mean, you were having a lot of physical effects, and I've been going.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then also, I don't know. We're not going to go into much detail about it because something really intense is happening there. But we've done it. Holy shit.
Yeah.
We cracked something wide open, and like we fell into the deep end.
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
a little bit.
What we set out to do, we succeeded at.
Yep. So far. We still have a ways to go, but like the effects we've been dealing with, and it's been really exhausting. On me personally, like I've been on the edge of a mental breakdown. Yours has been bad. Mine not so much.
Yeah.
Like mine was more physical headaches, some dizziness, I guess, maybe just being really tired afterwards, feeling like I got beat up the next day, but mentally fine.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, I'm going through it.
I'm going through it. It's crazy. I feel like I fell into another initiation.
You did.
Because I've the feeling, the internal feelings that I'm going through, like I feel it in my soul, but there's also like the mental anguish part of it. Yeah. And both of those feelings, I felt them twice in my life. The first time was in when I had that thing in the church. Where I snapped into psychosis. Mm-hmm. And then the second time was my big initiation, that lifted the veil.
Right.
So now I feel like I'm kind of going through it again. Like I'm on that edge again.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like more intense and even harder. But
you be careful what you wish for.
I know. It's so crazy. Like the absolute hubris, but still. Anyways.
Touché.
So we had to. Yeah, I've been going through a lot. I've been having to completely restructure all my beliefs and ideas.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but like crazy stuff's been happening.
No, it's insane. Have you ever experienced anything this intense before?
No, like, I mean, well, yes. I mean, I have with that one thing that happened to me with the coughing up dirt situation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But, we'll talk about that another time. But with regards to getting information that is able to be corroborated that I didn't know ahead of time, right? No, never. Not this much.
Yeah.
I mean, even in dreams, like I've been having crazy dreams that have led me to things that I didn't know existed. Then I find out they do exist. And that's crazy. I wasn't expecting that at all. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been nuts.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're out there listening and you're curious, basically, we set out with the whole hypnosis thing to basically see if we could use hypnosis to crack open Dr. Stone's mediumship channel. And we found a class of spirits that was largely unexplored in a very ancient medieval tome, that these spirits had basically no information tied to them, or very little information tied to them. So we decided to give that class of spirits a whirl with this technique. And not only were we able to hypnotize Dr. Stone, we were able to plant a cue to immediately put her into the mediumship state, put it into ritual magic, and then get in contact with these spirits. And I think we conjured 3 of them within a week, and it just like that was way too much. That was way too much.
Yeah.
We did it way too fast.
We were like
Anyways,
excited.
Yeah,
but,
we were excited, and then
and I wanted to see if it was, was it a fluke the first time?
Yeah.
The second time, but
every time we've done it, it's worked.
Right, and I don't know anything about them.
Yeah,
but yet I somehow do. Like, so that's crazy to me. Like, it's just nuts.
Yeah, no.
And also my mediumship is not usually on demand like that, I mean, I guess sometimes it is, but it's not like, I can't just be like, oh, hang on, let me channel some spirit for you. Like, no.
Yeah.
But yes, I guess under these circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, we fucking, sorry.
Nuts.
Yeah, no, we're on to something really big here. It's repeatable. And it's like one of those things where we like set out to do something like, oh, we're going to innovate something. And now it's just completely turned into it's being given to us.
Yeah.
Like we're not it's like that's what I'm talking about. The hubris,
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'm going to like pioneer this new technique. And then,
they're like, no,
and then it's
here
like,
we're gonna
no,
go to.
like you like that. They're just
like we're waiting
it's just
for
being
you.
given to us.
No, they literally said that they were contacting us.
Yeah.
Like you specifically.
Well, okay, yeah, we're not going to go into too many details, but
that's
yeah. So sorry, we're getting really So we've been dealing with this, which is why we haven't been doing episodes.
Yeah.
But
fun.
we're back on it. We're slowing down with that, and for anybody that's interested, we're not going to talk about it because we are taking really intense notes,
right?
And we're compiling everything that we're learning,
and we're doing like scientific method with it. Like
yeah,
we're literally keeping our
occult
lab notes.
scientific method. Yes. Yeah. So maybe in the future we'll be able to reveal a little bit of what we're doing. Anyways, so that's why we haven't been recording, but we're back. Okay.
Hello.
And
happy Yule, Merry Yule.
Yeah, it is winter solstice, so that's why I'm in my Saturn robes tonight.
That's why I'm in my red.
Yeah, the black. I really like my lunar robe. That one's my favorite one because it's so comfortable.
Right. But, that looks pretty dope though.
Yeah, the black.
Pretty snazzy.
Yeah, this one, I think you got this one for me, but this is my my robe
You're
of
so
death.
easy to shop for.
Yeah.
Yes, the easiest Christmas gifts to buy is for you.
Yeah,
because we know what I would like.
Yeah,
I just get it for you, but in the male version of it. Right, but we're going to talk about spell work or spell crafting.
Yeah, spell crafting. So we came up with this idea before we got completely sidetracked and life happened. But we wanted to do something that we had completely different perspectives on, right?
Right.
So,
I forget what our different perspectives are, though. At this moment. I forgot.
Because our practice is starting to get integrated together, which is something we've been trying to do for a while.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. That is true. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, because we come from different backgrounds of magic.
Different schools of magic,
I mean, mine is just, I've always done it. But so with spell work or spell crafting, I mean, first of all, what is it, right? What does that those terms mean? Well, it's referring to a deliberate practice of specific rituals, symbols, and specifically words, and actions, of course, to manifest an outcome, right? It's where your word commands the outcome, right? Mm-hmm. So most of these are, I think a lot of people tend to go to books. So this is where we differ, right?
Yes.
Is that in the very beginning, when I was like 12 or 13, sure, the first ones I did were from a book, some Llewellyn thing. Hey, like no hate because it was the gateway drug, right? But as soon as I realized what it was and like what they were doing, is I never used someone else's spells. I've always written my own, like since I was a child. So, and I've never followed like ritual magic, the kind that are written in the books for decades. So I think that's where we differ, right? Like, so for you, what do you do?
Well, yeah. So I've always been very much, I very much believe in using the invocations that are laid out in the great grimoires and tomes, and there's a few different reasons for it. I think when it comes from when I'm doing one that's personal, that's usually either in my petition or prayer. That's usually where it's coming from myself. But when I'm dealing with conjuration, invocation, evocation, I very much stick to what was written by the masters before me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
Mine were always personal. Mine were I'm asking for something, but not someone specific, not trying to get someone to come to me. I'm trying to manifest something outwardly. So it was always written by me, but I do see how it would be beneficial to use something that's tried and true when it comes to what you're talking about.
So the way that I like to explain it to people, I guess, is that if you're trying to get to the top of a mountain, you can take the hiking trail or you can cut through the brush. The hiking trail's going to take a lot less energy, get you up there quicker. But if you go through the brush, maybe you'll see some stuff that nobody's ever seen before.
True. This is true. I mean, but this is the concept of spell work or spell crafting is thousands and thousands of years old. It's like as old as, we can trace it back to the beginnings of humanity, like pretty much, especially with language, right? With the beginnings of language, like the oldest forms of spell crafting would be shamanic rituals, right? It would be like the shamans of, like the Arctic Circle and stuff, doing their ritual chants and stuff to get into that space where they can commune with the ancestors, right? But we have evidence of it, like from the earliest written books. There's evidence of it. So this is not a new concept by any means. But there's some aspects of it that are intriguing to me. So like when we were talking about this episode, I was like, the reason that I thought about it and wanted to do this is because like there's so many spells. And I'm going to go back to the books, not the ritual ones that you use, but like the ones that are really popular for, say, beginner witches, right? Or whatever. Excuse me. They all, like, a lot of them rhyme, right? And I was like, why the hell do all these spells rhyme? Like, what is that about? I think that's kind of lame, like personally, like I was like, that's silly. Yeah. Okay. And why does it have to rhyme? So I started researching into it and I was like, oh, okay. There is a reason for it. And again, the rhyming part of it is as old as the practice as well. So there's something about the ability to make the words rhyme that allows the practitioner to remember what they need to say,
Oh yeah. Kind of like when you're teaching a kid something and if you teach them a song, they'll remember it. Right. Yeah.
So poetry. And then there's a period of time where we started to hide it within poetry. Right. So, and we can all, guess when that started, Yeah. And so that was what I originally was looking into, was like, why does it rhyme? But then I remembered something that you had told me that I had not heard of before, which was what was it called? The Nomina Barbara?
Oh, the Nomina Barbara. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that?
So the Nomina Barbara it's I think that's Latin for barbarous words, and it's something that you're going to see in classical magic, and it's going to make its way into the medieval grimoires a little bit, but the medieval grimoires, once they hit the Renaissance, they're going to start to get like really structured, and you're going to see less and less Nomina Barbara. But the Nomina Barbara goes back to classical magic, goes back to Egyptian magic as well, and it's basically like these strings of letters, or these what they call
undefinable, right?
Yeah, made up names. Like sometimes you'll see names that in one tome that you can't find anywhere else on the historical record. And so what historians and academics like to do is they like to say that these, the reason they call them barbarous names or nomina barbara is basically that whoever wrote the book or whoever developed the spell was just trying to seem mysterious and come up with exotic sounding words and magic names and that kind of thing, just to make everything seem more mystical and magical.
Right.
However, from a practitioner's perspective, and the way that I think about it, and especially when I'm calling on when I'm conjuring spirits, or when I'm doing a Kabbalistic practice called permutation, right?
Right.
And I think Kabbalistic permutation provides a lot of insight into what you'll see in the strings of letters in, like, let's say the PGM magic, which would be like, you'll see a, and it's like kind of a resonant thing. You'll see it in Crowley's magic too. He does a little bit of that. That Nomina Barbara right there is obviously like you're vibrating a sound.
Right.
Yeah. But then when you're looking at these like exotic, weird sounding names that aren't necessarily, they're like a pseudo Arabic or a pseudo Hebrew like name for spirit. And the way that those are getting developed, I look at it, I think the Sefer Yetzirah, which is my favorite piece of, one of my favorite pieces of esoteric literature of all time. It's something that I constantly go back to. It's considered the very first Kabbalistic source that we have on the record. I think it comes from around the 3rd century AD. Okay. And it's the first time on the record we can see the Hebrews talking about something called the Sephirot. And so the Sefer Yetzirah basically is fan fiction or expanded literature on how exactly God spoke the universe into existence in Genesis. And I think my favorite commentary on that book is by a rabbi in the 1980s. His name was Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan.
No, yeah, I know Aryeh Kaplan, yeah. Yeah, so if anybody wants to get into like some actual Jewish Kabbalah, not the Hermetic Kabbalah table of correspondences, but you want to actually get into the Jewish stuff, that's your guy. Yeah, it is. You know, that is your guy, and he opens it up, basically gives license. He was doing it for Gentiles. Yep. But magicians can definitely take from it. Yeah, absolutely. Like I definitely do. I mean, yeah. But in it, he's talking about, as you see this process that God is creating the universe using the Hebrew alphabet. And then if you're aligning them, like the Sefer Yetzirah describes a process of carving the universe by placing the letters on the tongue. And when you're doing these permutations, you're basically really paying attention to where on the tongue, where on the palate you're placing the letter, and you're kind of pushing it out and you're carving with it, right? So you're taking from just the oneness of being, and you're imprinting, you're carving the letters out. And then Aryeh Kaplan goes and he basically makes this huge diagram where you see this wheel, and it's got all the Hebrew letters around it. And from there, as you permute the letters, you're starting to create geometries, and it's creating this kind of, like, let's say you're creating the golem, you're going to do, I think it's 231 permutations. Oh. You're going to create this crazy, almost 4-dimensional geometry as you're permuting it, right? Tesseract. Yeah, like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And so if you can think about in the Nomina Barbara these strings of letters, right? Right. Basically, the way that I like to think about it when I'm
pronouncing them, or if I'm using a spirit's name, like some of these spirits' names that I use from the medieval and the classical grimoires, you can definitely see in it,
Right.
where there's like a resh and an iron, and then Zion, or that kind of thing. And you can see that there's this kind of geometry that's getting drawn right there
Okay.
as you're pronouncing the name.
If you know how to do that.
If you're
if you know that system.
so that's how so it's like where a historian or an academic is going to like toss it out and be like, no, toss it out and be like, these are just hodgepodge jumble of words that are meant to sound exotic. And for me as a practitioner, I see something completely different.
Well,
I see that these spirits are like this geometry that's being outlined by the voice.
You're right. You're so right, because what they're actually, the reason that they're used is they are thought to bypass the conscious mind, because the frequency with which they're said resonates with the frequencies of the universe.
Yeah.
So that carving you're talking about is where it's actually like aligning with some other resonance that is beyond our perception.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. And that's what, I mean, you're right. Like most scholars, it's like abracadabra, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's like,
within abracadabra, I mean, there's a lot of esoterics
there is
in that too.
Yeah. It's actually, it starts, the original term is IAO, abracadabra. Like that's the original way to say it. But, the string of vowels is like part of it, right?
So the string of vowels is the one that you see really common in Egyptian magic,
right? And Greco-Egyptian,
Greco-Egyptian, yes.
Yeah, and they're untranslatable.
Yeah,
they don't translate to anything.
Yeah, which is why academics and historians bash their head against the wall, and they're like, and they just give up, and they're like, this isn't anywhere else on the record. This person made it up, and it's like one of the things that we did the other night, as a part of our work, Agrippa in I think his second book, he teaches a way where you can basically get a name out of a certain spirit by starting at the ascendant of your natal chart, and every degree you lay in order a letter from the Hebrew alphabet, all 360 degrees. And then you go and you take each planet, that's like every degree that the planet is in, and you do it in sequence, and then all of a sudden you have this string of Hebrew letters.
Right.
And then you
just pronounce that.
and then you got to figure out how to pronounce it. Yeah. And then you got to figure out how to pronounce it, because they don't have vowels in their language. But so then you get this string of Hebrew letters, and by saying that's your magic word that's supposed to call on that spirit that is intrinsically linked to your nativity, right? Your natal chart. And so right in there you see that this isn't like, I mean, if the Kabbalists are talking about this in the Sefer Yetzirah, and Agrippa's talking about this in the Renaissance, like this idea that these are, you're drawing these kind of like spatial dimensions and geometries using these strings of letters or whatever. It's not, I don't think it's a new concept. And it's funny because it's like, when you think about it that way, it definitely starts to tie into this whole like new age, like, well, you got to be at the right resonance and everything sacred geometry. So that's what I'm saying. It's like people associate that with the new age, but it's like, but
it's not. It's like old age. It's like, this has been around forever. I mean, the pronunciation though, when you get into it though, it's kind of like a slippery slope, because there's this one like kind of thought, a school of thought about it, where it's like, okay, if we go into this like pronunciation situation, okay, then it is so important to pronunciate it right. Yeah. That if you mess up, it can undo the work you're trying to do. Yeah. And so like Egyptian priestesses or priests would be trained for years on how to specifically pronounce certain names or words so that their spells would not backfire or the opposite. Yeah, like, I mean, that would be backfiring, right? It's the opposite of what you want to occur. So if you kind of go on that vein, then I think you could possibly be opening yourself up to like some catastrophe there by, you know, saying it wrong and then having everything go bad for you, I guess. But
so one of my favorite Jewish mythology stories about Kabbalists, it was that there these Kabbalists that were trying to create the golem. And so basically, in order to create the golem, you have to permute the entire Aleph bet, right?
Okay.
So, and that is going to take you, I think it was something like 72 hours of nonstop
oh man,
chanting.
Is that what they're doing at the wall?
Yeah, that's what they're doing at the wall. And so there's this story that these two, that there's this village that was like starving or something, and these two young Kabbalists were like, well, we're going to create like lamb for us to eat by permuting the like basically creating a golem lamb, right? So we're gonna sit there, and so they were there and they were doing it, and they messed up.
Oh no!
And when they messed up, they got fused into the ground.
Oh, like that one thing,
like Full Metal Alchemist or something,
like
you know.
Whatever the Manhattan Project, whatever it was, where the ship disappeared.
What was that? Yeah, is that Montauk or something?
Is it Philadelphia or Manhattan? It's one of those two. Where the boat disappeared and it came back and the men were fused to the ground.
Yeah, and these two like Kabbalists got fused in the ground because they pronounced it wrong.
Oops.
And
see, that's what I'm talking about.
their master rabbi has to come and undo it.
Oh,
the way he does it is by performing the permutation backwards.
Oh, okay. To undo it.
Yeah.
Can they then start from where they left off before they screwed up?
I have no idea. That's as much of the story as I know.
That's harsh. See, that's I don't know about that. Like, I don't want to.
So maybe this is completely naive, but I'm very much of the philosophy that, like, if I don't know something and I can't figure it out through study, I just ask, you know, I just try anyways, and I ask, right?
Yeah.
So I think as a part of our experiments, I am doing a very intense Arabic conjuration pretty frequently called the Barataya.
Yeah.
And my Arabic is not that great.
Yeah, but I think you're forgiven because you're not Arabic.
Yeah,
so
I know.
You know,
I'm just culturally appropriating.
No, but you're like you do when you do your spell work. you are so like loud and like commanding.
Yeah.
It was so like the first time we did one together, I was like, whoa, this is a lot. Like and I love it. I love it. I'm so less than that. Like I'm not like that hardcore about it. But yet mine still works. So why is that?
Well, yeah. So, man, this is this is a very difficult thing. So I think this is where our perspective deviates, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm extremely formulaic. So I have these ideas about, like, you have to say the right things in the right order, and basically through egregoric properties by using an invocation that hundreds of other magus before you, great magus before you, have used. That's like a paved road to that spirit, right? But you have to conjure within a specific order, and then you're using these strings of letters or these names, and they're kind of like drawing these geometries and opening these gates within the astral or the aether or whatever. That's
is that what you're seeing as you're doing it? Is that what you're like?
It's kind of like a rationalization, I guess. You know, like an intellectualizing of the process. It's what I've been able to piece together. But so my spell crafting is extremely like it's almost like algorithmic, right? Whereas your spell crafting is more like a conversation, or I don't know, like it's like you're having a one-on-one, right?
Right. Well, yeah. I'm when I do mine, I'm like, I've written something out first that I'm putting on something like parchment or a candle or whatever, carving it in. And then that's what I'm asking for right there. And like, either I burn it or I keep it, whatever. But when I'm like petitioning to the spirits, whatever, I'm talking to them. Yeah. Like that. Because in my head, in my mind's eye, I'm having a conversation. I'm asking.
Yeah.
There's been times where it's, I mean, not recently at all, but like back when I was younger, I remember I would get a no, you know, like, no, we're not going to do this for you. Like I would see that, you know, like in my conversation, and then I'd be like, oh, that's not going to work then, you know, and it wouldn't work. But that hasn't happened because I don't abuse it anymore like I used to when I was younger. But the thing is that I think a lot of the times that, okay, so like there's so many people, especially with like TikTok and YouTube and whatever, this online occultism thing that we'll get to at some point, right? That episode.
At some point.
Yeah. There's so many people that are like, I tried this spell and it didn't work, whatever. Well, I can almost guarantee I know why, right? It's because your intentions and your emotions behind it weren't matching what you were saying, right? Like you have to be on point with what you're asking for. Like you have to feel it in like all of your being, you know, like I don't ask for something unless it's like, I don't ask for things a lot at all. Like I don't do spell work often at all. It's reserved for important things and it's few and far between. Ritual stuff, like honoring things like, you know, for Yule or whatever, that's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like actually requesting something to be given to me. Those things, like I feel it in all of the fiber of my being. Like it is something that I need, I want, it has to happen, and it's going to happen. And I know that, like I know that because I'm coming from the correct place, that it's going to work. And that's the other thing is you have to believe with like the utmost, like absolute delusional certainty that it's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you're going to get what you asked for because you deserve it.
So it's so funny because, I mean, I'm listening to you say this right now and I'm starting to really understand, or I guess it's starting to dawn on me where me and you deviate so much in our magic.
Okay.
Yours is very like you're talking about believing that it's going to happen and that, with every fiber of your being, and it's this kind of like pushing out.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas mine is extremely receptive.
Right.
Like
yeah.
It's always receptive. It's always like opening and letting it come into me. Right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, but those are kind of one and the same though, because it's like the idea that what you want wants you.
Yeah.
You know? So if you're asking to receive, then that means that you want to receive.
Yeah.
So you're asking to bring it in. You're doing the same thing. It's just you're thinking about it differently.
Yeah.
That's all. I think because I'm asking for something to come to me that I want.
Yeah.
And I'm demanding it.
Yeah.
Right? You're asking. You're like, you know, hey, I'm open to this, right? Or I'm like, no, give it to me.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
completely different.
Yeah.
But the same, because the end result's the same. We both have
kind of.
Well, we both get what we want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got what you wanted.
I feel like every time I get whatever I do a spell over, there's always like a huge lesson in it.
That is.
Yeah.
So that right there, my friend, is the reason why I write my own spells.
Yeah.
Because the ones that are written, okay, here's my problem with pre-written spells. I don't know what the mindset was of the person that wrote that spell. I don't know what their intentions were originally.
Yeah.
It could, you know, you could look at it and say, well, obviously their intention was to do this or that because that's what it's asking for. That's not true. Like, that is not true. I don't know what they were actually thinking. Were they delusional? Were they like wrong to be asking for it? Did they not deserve it? Like, I don't know. So I don't want to mess with that. Like, I want to know that my stuff is coming from what I want, not from somebody else. So I will use spells as a framework, like a template, you know, like I'll read. I mean, whenever I'm going to write my own spell, I always like look up other people's spell. I always do that. I look it up and see like what they were doing for components, but I use my own language because when you don't, that is when it's open for interpretation by the universe.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that is when you get these things that happen where it comes to you in this convoluted as fuck way where it's like, yeah, you get what you want way down the line after all this shit happens to you.
After you have to like
Yeah.
go through this trial by fire.
Yeah, I don't play with that. I don't like that. Like I learned that the hard way so many times.
I feel like I'm a little bit of a masochist and just
Yeah.
like everything that I do.
You just like you want to learn the hard way.
I do. That's how I've lived my entire life. You know, everybody tells me like, don't do that. And I'm just like, I'm going to find out why I shouldn't
fuck
do
around
that.
and find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing is I realize that like I'm getting what I want, but in a fucked up way. Like, you know, I want like, okay, let's do one that's recent, like, you know, work related things. Okay. You want a new job? Like I want a new job, perhaps. Well, what's going to happen? Oh, I'm going to end up hating the job one I have now, unless I'm very specific about not making sure that that's not what happens.
Damn. Oh my gosh. Anna. I'm so stupid.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So you have to like account for that. So like the thing is with spell work, the reason I write my own spells and have since I was about 14 years old is because from 12 to 14, I learned the fucking hard way that when I use someone else's spell, I will get what I want, but it's going to come to me and all these bad things are going to happen and it's going to be like the worst way possible that I get it.
Yeah.
So I decided, I don't want this. I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So I'm going to account. So you have to literally account for every possible outcome that could be interpreted unless you unless you say specifically you don't want that to happen. So if I'm saying I want to get a new job that pays better, okay, then that means like my current job is going to be amazing. And like I will find another position that will be conducive to my growth, but with nothing bad will happen at my current place of employment. I'm going to stay there until this new job seamlessly allows me to integrate into it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I don't have to worry about now I hate my boss all of a sudden and they're driving me crazy, or, you know, I'm getting like just bugged all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it's stuff like that that's really important. And that's why I think a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth about spell work. They try it a couple times and they're like, yeah, fuck this, because bad stuff happened or it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Well, like, were you specific? Were you like literal? Like, because it will give it to you literally. So if you ask for something, be prepared unless you've accounted for all the possibilities that how it could play out and you've written those out of it in the way you ask for it. Be prepared for any and every possible other outcome, you know, other like pathway to get to that will be what you experience. I'm certain of that. And that's no fun, you know, because I mean, think about it. Like if you're somebody that, you know, because this is also like a lot of people say it's like, well, you're just asking for things that, you know, you don't want to do the work. Okay. That's not going to work either. You can't just ask for something and then sit on your ass and do nothing. Yeah. Right? Like that's not how it works.
Yeah, if you summon a demon to get a girlfriend, you should probably leave the basement. Right. You know? Like a girlfriend isn't gonna come knocking on your mom's door like, hey,
is Teddy here?
Yeah,
like, is he down in the basement?
Yeah, can I watch Tony play video games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, it's just so cool watching video games all day.
The thing that I always talk about is like substrate. Like I like to think about it like mushrooms, you know? Yeah. Like how fungus spread. They need like a substrate or whatever. And so yeah, when I'm doing my my sphere initiations, or I'm trying to do a talisman, which when I make talismans, it is a very long process because I do elections for those.
Yeah, that's like requiring. See, you wait. Like, and that's the other thing. That's where we differ too.
Yeah. There's a lot of Yeah, because I'm an astrological music.
Yeah, you will wait until the
magician.
specific date on a year, and like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like a 5 years in the future. They like some crazy shit like that. And I'm like, what?
I think the longest one was a year and a half.
That's a long time.
Yeah, but then that whole year and a half. So that's what I really like about that process is that, so it gives you a year and a half to really get close to whatever you're trying to approach, right? And like
Sure.
what sphere you're doing it within, what spirits you're working with. And there's this kind of initiation that goes into it. And all of this goes in like the timing, all of this goes into the talisman, right?
Right.
And that like really powers the talisman. And a lot of times, like I hit that point where, okay, so I've just spent the past year, like for example, when I was, I guess my Mars talisman or whatever, I learned a lot about Mars and I grew a lot from it. And I hit that night that I was supposed to make the talisman, and everything that I had petitioned Mars for had happened before
Right.
I made the talisman that I was doing it for. But I had to carry it through. I had to finish and make the talisman. And so
Right.
now I have this talisman and it sits in this little home and it busted out. Like, I think I've worn it maybe like 2 or 3 times. And when I put that thing on, it just brings back that entire, like all the energy that was packed into that year.
Right.
And,
You
and
focus.
I'm just electric with it. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, I think that, I don't know if you noticed, but I think that is probably the most powerful talisman I've created. I know the effects of it.
Yeah, I do too.
You do too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know why. Like I can tell you exactly why. It's because you did the thing that I think a lot of people can't do.
I wallowed in him. I like absolutely just for so much time just like rolling around in Mars. Like, just like, oh, get on me. You know?
Because you like, but that's the thing, that this is like that delineation, that line in the sand between like a true magical practitioner and a novice or a wannabe is a poser, if you will.
A poser. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, calling it what I see. Is that the effort? Like there's lack of effort, right?
Yeah.
Like, because unless it's innate, which I think is pretty rare, to have somebody that's just innate at it, it does require a large amount of intense focus and like not deviating from that and dedication to it. And a lot of people, we live in a society of like instant gratification, and the idea of waiting a year and some months for something is like just not plausible to many people,
Well, I think, so that's one of the things that I'm largely impatient with a lot of things. With my occult work, I'm not at all. Like it's
because you take it seriously.
Well, yeah, it's not, I'm never like waiting for something to happen. And especially with astrological magic, or you're doing like elections, I'm never counting down the days till the night of the rite or whatever, because every single day leading up to it it's like being within the rite. It's like it's happening.
Right.
It's like once I step into it, it doesn't stop.
Because you are wanting it, it wants you. Because that's how things work. Like that's how it works.
Yeah.
So the minute you decide, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
It's happening already.
I think the year of my lunar initiation, it was like I wasn't thinking about consistency. I wasn't thinking about what I was going to get out of it. I wasn't thinking about, oh, the rite's coming up. Am I ready? Or, oh, I wish the rite would happen. None of that. It was just like, it was just happening and I was just in it.
Right. Well, I'm gonna say,
and then all of a sudden it's like a year later and I've like crossed this threshold.
But you're different. So I'm going to just say this because it's the facts. Like I've met a lot of people that practice magic but you are different. Like, I don't know how to say that any other way. Like, I've never met anyone more disciplined, and I know you're going to disagree with that term.
I'm not disciplined.
You're absolutely disciplined.
I missed 2 weeks of uploading on the podcast.
Because of the other stuff we're doing, which is, again, you've been super disciplined about it. Like, when you put your mind to something, it happens for you. And that's one of those things that I think a lot of people, there are people that are like that out there. And that's an innate, and see, this is where we disagree also, is that I'm going to say it. You have an innate ability to do this stuff. This is not, you say you're trained, and
no,
I agree you're trained.
I had to train.
Of course you did. Of course you trained.
It's kind of like the same thing. Like one of the things that always drove me nuts when I was a musician was when people would tell me I was talented.
Okay, that's not what I'm, well, yes, I am saying that. I am going to say it.
They would be like, you're a talented musician. And,
I know,
and that was like so dismissive. It was like, I would like stay home from high school dances. I would like all my friends would like go out and like hang out, and I would stay at home for 8 hours just playing my instrument.
And you're not disciplined.
And then people would turn around and be like, "Oh, you're talented," and I'd be like, "No, dude, I work my ass off to learn how to play this fucking instrument." You know. You
are so convoluted. Like you are disciplined, my friend. That is what we call discipline. Like when you.
No, that was obsession. It's different.
Oh my God.
That was obsession. I am an obsessive person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Discipline, obsession. Yeah. We'll call it what you will. I'm saying that I understand that and I'm not trying to take away from the amount of study and work you put into it, but so many people do the same and aren't able to get the results. So at some point you're going to have to say, okay, maybe a little bit.
I'm very much like and I
don't say that about anybody.
Chef Gusteau from Ratatouille of the occult.
Yeah.
Like anybody can do magic,
Well, to an extent, maybe, but like the amount of stuff that's gotten from it, the benefit, like the payback that you get is literal, it's tangible, and it's very, everyone can see it.
I think that I deviate, and it's something, I think the motivations that I have as an occultist, there's less occultists with the same motivations that I have. I'm not saying that it's too uncommon, but it's uncommon. And I talked about it in the Libra Lacuna, that if you approach the occult, but with mystic motivations, right? Mm-hmm. So you're doing magic and you're doing occultism, but on the inside, you keep the mystic motivations, right. Then that's how you develop the type of practice that I have, right? Yep. That's where my practice comes from, is because really it's like, yes, I'm doing magic doing spells, like when I do spells, it's very worldly, mundane reasons, right? Mm-hmm. Like extremely worldly, mundane reasons. But in the process, I'm pulling out of it, inner transformation, right. And, what is, God's plan for me, right. And how do I get closer to divinity?
Exactly.
That kind of thing. Whereas you're not going to get that a lot with your, become a living god, sex magic or whatever, right. Like those type of people, they have different motivations, right?
Right. Because your motivation is for proof of your divinity. And because your connection to it. Yeah. And every time you do a petition or an election, whatever, mm-hmm. And when you get those results, that's another verified instance of that being true for you.
Oh, it worked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So therefore, now I know that this is real, right? And that's, a lot of people that's not what their motivations are at all.
Maybe. Yeah.
No. I'm going to say...
Well, because I do know,
half of them are not.
There's that one group that I like to talk to online mm-hmm. a lot. Those people are very much, they have the same motivations that I do.
I would say 50-50.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 50-50. Most people are just in it to get stuff.
Yeah.
But the idea that, I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to that have, done magic and gotten something and have, zero concept of, what it actually means.
Oh.
That it worked.
Oh.
Do it's surface level. I got this thing. Yeah, but what does that tell you? They look at me like I'm crazy.
It should freak you out.
It should freak you out. to this day, I get freaked out.
I know every time it happens. Every time it happens.
You know this. Like, I mean,
it always freaks me out.
I get freaked out. You know how I get freaked out a lot about a lot of things. So
it's like every time it's like I keep doing it, and then it works, and then I'm like, wow, that worked.
Yeah, like you're so like surprised.
Yeah.
And like that's good, because once you stop with that kind of sense of wonderment and awe about it, then what the hell why are you even doing it?
Well, yeah. So I think I said to that group of people one time, I was like, if if you're doing magic, it doesn't scare the shit out of you. Are you even doing magic?
Yeah, I have that. I posted that. I shared that out. I was like, yes, this is so true, because it should scare you. I mean, like every time I see something, I'm like, oh God. Like, I know that I can do it. It's just like, it's still shocking. It always surprises me. And I don't think I'd want it to not surprise me. Yeah. Because it's like a reminder of like, this is me here now, but there's this other stuff. Yeah. And I can't forget that, And it's easy to forget that with how things go in this life. There's so much distraction out there, right? Yeah. And that's, I think, on purpose, but I digress. But, this is the art of spell crafting it's an art. It is an art. It's not like... And that's why the ones you follow, these are from grimoires that are old as shit, right? Like they're...
Well, I mean, I use modern translations, right? So when I select my translation, if I'm going to be using a invocation from, like, for example, the invocations I like to use from the Picatrix are Christopher Warnock's translations, right? Because amongst magical practitioners, Christopher Warnock's translation of the Picatrix is probably the most used. The Dana Trell translation is more recent, and like instead of saying Allah, he says God, like that kind of thing. Okay. So in my mind, more magicians have used the Christopher Warnock translation of that invocation, and Christopher Warnock is translating God as Allah. And so I can think, right? Yeah, and so I can think that maybe the original Muslim magicians that were calling down these spirits would have said Allah. Yeah. And so in that, there's like an almost like egregoric path, right? Like there's this path that's been carved out that people have used before. And so that's why I choose those ones. That's why I choose to use those ones. But when I'm doing like my own ritual or my own spell, something that is unique to me, that's a unique part of my personal brand of magic, that I believe that stuff is received, that I don't think it comes from me. Right. So it's like when you're talking about the initiation system that I use and how our recent experiments have come together. It's like I may start out with a tiny part of it that I'm like, okay, this is coming from my mind and I'm doing it because I'm trying to create something. But the second the ball gets rolling, then it feels like it's being given to me. Right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean, there's been times where I've done.
So it's not like, I know that there's a very intentional way to when you're writing spells. I told you about that one Enochian practitioner that I really respect, that I have his book. And he was really into the occult poetry thing, where he would write spells that were poetry that were all, and the poems were also talismans that were magically charged. Right. And I know, I think Crowley might popularize that, but that definitely comes out of the Victorian era or Romanticism, that kind of thing.
The Renaissance.
John D. And so that is very much like I don't know. I don't do that, right? I let things come from me. I don't make it a creative process where I'm like pulling in these things and it's coming from me or it's coming from my head. I don't like it to come from me when I'm performing these things.
Well, I've written some that I started off that way, and then like I go back and read it and I'm like, when the fuck did I write that? Yeah. Like, I don't remember. So, that is, I guess, the same kind of thing where I don't know where it comes from, but that's not often. Like usually, like you said, I just do conversations where I'm like, this is what I want, give it to me. It's coming. Especially if I'm doing something not so nice, right? Like that kind, I don't need to have any script, nothing written down ahead of time. Yeah. It's just because if I'm at that point, I don't need it, and I'm very confident in that. I mean, you've seen, and mine, even though I don't follow the traditional path like that, my stuff works like right away.
Yeah, you're
like the other day, good. Right? I did one for money, right? I was like, oh, I want more money. Okay. Cause Christmas and I gotta get my kids presents and, and stuff. And, I did one, and then that same day before the 24 hours had expired, I had booked 4 clients out of absolutely nowhere contacted me and I'd asked for more. That's what I said. I said, I want to have more money via clients, right? That's what I said. And I had 4 within the next 24 hours. So and it's just continued to come. So there's that. Did I just that happened again? I'm just going to say every time, I don't know why it is when I wave my fucking hand like that, dude, like light goes out all the time. I know that it's burnt out right now because it's dead, but every time that's happened, it's been when I've done this and then it shuts off like on camera. It's so weird. That's my magical powers there. It's just a battery dying, but yeah. So I think that it's important. I mean, I think anything that you do, I think that with spell work, it's like whatever resonates with you, right? At the end of the day, it's like whatever you believe is going to work for you will work for you. If you believe that it's going to work. So if you believe that your ritual stuff from the well-paved out, well-carved out path of former magicians is going to work, it's going to work because you believe that, just like I believe mine's going to work even without that.
Yes. I think, yeah. I definitely, I put a lot of weight into, it's crazy too, because I tried so hard to get away from ceremonial magic. And I feel like I just always fall back into that kind of mindset. I put a lot of weight into the style of conjuration or spell that I do, as in you're opening up doors and for things to come in, or these influences to come in, and that's a very ceremonial perspective, right? And so I think when you're doing that, sometimes belief isn't necessary because when these things get in, they get in.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I got that loud and clear. It's true. But I think it's because it's already there anyways.
Yeah.
And also I think that your affinity for this type of magic is something that's rooted in your past lives, honestly.
I know you keep kind of saying that. I don't put a lot of weight into past lives. Not that I don't believe in them. It's just I'm not a past person. I don't look behind me,
That is not what I mean. I mean, it's just something that's hardwired in there.
Maybe. I feel
when I saw
so I feel I'm very much of the position that I am led
by yourself.
But by my unconscious self, right? Because I spend a lot of time within my occult work just giving up my will and trying to get out of my head, trying to stop making decisions and letting things come to me just freely, right?
Yeah, but they do, right?
And so it puts me in this place. It's like I do have this kind of distinct style and brand of practice and magic now, Spellcraft. However, it was never intentional. I never sat down and was like, I'm going to use electional astrology, and I'm going to use Semitic languages, and I am going to work within these spheres, and I'm going to make talismans. It was just where I was led, because I've been through Goetia, I've been through Enochian, I've been through Golden Dawn, I've been through Barden. My path is very much exploring not just the occult and magic, but religions as well.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I find myself in this position where I'm like really into Platonism, and I'm using Arabic magic and classical astrology, and for some reason it just makes sense.
It resonates with your soul is what it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think that's rooted in the fact that you've done it before.
I've done it before. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that because it works so well for you. You know, I mean, I've watched it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've freaking seen it. And that's
See
so
me
rare
drive
to
myself
say.
nuts.
But okay. Drive yourself nuts. Ask the question, what am I even doing? Am I even on the right path?
I've asked you that so many times. Yeah.
Every time you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Why am I doing this? Blah, blah. And then at some point, it's like, boom, that's why. And it's revealed to you. And it's like, turns out that you were doing exactly the right fucking thing that you were supposed to be doing to lead you to this place every single time. I've watched this. And like, I've heard other people say things like this to me, and I've witnessed their process, and I'm like, I don't know. Yours is like, what is going on with you? Like, sometimes it really blows my mind.
No, sometimes I want it to slow down. Sometimes I'm like,
that's why you got to write your own spell.
Well, it's like the second it's so funny too, because it's like the second I finish some like big journey, and I don't take a break. I'm just like, all right, let's start the next one. And and then all of a sudden I'm like in the middle of it. I'm in the shits again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, like pump the brakes, like stop, please. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Like
because I
just want to chill out.
But you don't.
But it's too late. I already stepped in a big old pile of magic.
Yeah. That's one way to put it. Oh my God. Touche. Yes. But I mean, it's true. Like, I think either way you go about it, if it works for you, it works for you. Like, if it's not working for you and you're really serious about it, then maybe you should try something else. Something different than what you're used to doing. Yeah. But once you find something that works for you, you know, you can expand on it, right? Or like incorporate other things. Oh yeah, no, it's always being built on. That's one of the things that, I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about that episode we did with Rufus Opus, and a lot of the things that he said to us, either during the episode or after, you know, when we were just like chatting or whatever. And, there are things that he says a lot on his live streams. Yeah. And, they might be like Rufus Opus isms or whatever. Yeah, you know? Yeah. No, but he
like,
says some cool stuff.
Like we're never finished with the work. And so I was just like, yeah, that's what he says. And like now I'm like sitting in, you know, what we're dealing with right now, and I'm like, he was speaking right to me. Like,
he was. You guys should check out his podcast.
Yeah, he's great. I love his work.
Yeah, very profound. Like that was a really what he said. Yes, definitely. I definitely resonated with that too. That interview was really like, whoa. I wasn't expecting to get that out of it, right? But like, that was awesome. Like, super cool. But yeah, like it's never done. I mean, depends on what you're doing. Okay. Like, yeah, because honestly, if you're really good at it, it shouldn't be done, because you're going to be like, oh shit, that worked. I know. I'll do it again. You know, like get more stuff. But like, you know, again, I would caution to people that I really believe that people that take advantage of it, like in a bad way, bad things will happen to you. Like, I do think that at some point you're going to be kind of maxed out, like your credit's maxed out. Oh, and you need to stop, you know. You need to be giving back also. Like, if you're getting, you need to be giving, right? I think it's only fair, because it's like a balance. Everything has to be balanced. So yeah, you can't just be taking all the time and not giving anything in return.
Yes.
whether that's your time, energy, good works, being of service, whatever it is, right? Like you got to do those things.
Yeah, I haven't done any service work in a few months, and I feel like that's a large part of why I'm having a hard time struggling, like dealing with this right now.
Right.
But it's like literally,
You don't
like,
have time.
I don't have time to do it.
Nope, you don't.
And I mean, that's like one of my big frustrations right now.
Yeah.
Is that like those things that I do that keep me balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to do them anymore. I'm like,
Right.
crap.
You will.
I will. Yeah,
will.
no, I will. I did, Jupiter thing on Thursday, and it seems that he's already working.
Yeah.
And it was funny though, because when I started the Jupiter stuff in, I think it was March or April.
Yeah.
I think it was. And I think like the first month or two, it's in the video grimoire on my YouTube, because you see a bunch of posts where I'm just like, wow, like all these things are happening. Everything's going so great.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I stop uploading, and it's because a whole world of shit just dropped in my lap.
Again.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is what I mean when I say you got to write, like, this is why you got to like account for the things that could go wrong. Like,
Exactly.
and I mean, this is something that I'm very serious about it. When I'm asking for stuff, I'm like, okay, let me think about if I was like a trickster, because that's what the energy is of the universe.
Oh yeah,
Of the universe in
yeah.
general is like, it's gonna get you. It's like, I'll give you what you want, but
Oh yeah,
you know. So how would this play out if I don't account for this, that, and the other thing? Like, what can possibly go wrong here that's going to lead to something going right? I want to eliminate that, like, as much as I can. You can never do it 100%, but you can mitigate as much as possible. That's always my advice. Sometimes what you're asking for requires that you go through shit, and in that case you're not going to be able to mitigate anything, but sometimes that's not the case, and you can just save yourself a world of shit by just wording things right. That's all. And you could do that. So I was thinking just a minute ago, you can still do your traditional stuff and do this, because when you said that you do what you write out that you want, right?
Oh, my petition. Yeah, exactly.
You put it there, not in the not in the ritual part, but in the petition.
In the petition.
Yes. So you can do both.
Yeah, I think when I did my Jupiter thing, I was very particular and specific.
Good.
In that petition. But yeah, so I think the way that because the way that I view magic and I view spellcrafting is, when I'm doing Nomina Barbara or I'm doing vibrations or something, I'm opening gates, right? And then the structure of the invocation itself or the spell itself is like an algorithm or a formula, right? And so you have to plug things in the right sequence in order to open these gates and let these things
like a
in.
cipher.
Yes, but then you get to the core of it, which is the prayer, the petition, and then that's where you let the things in, and now it's time to open your heart and like be honest from your soul, right? And that's when it comes that, like, I'm not reading prayer that somebody wrote.
It's yours.
Yeah, it's like that's coming from my heart.
So then you do both. So you do my way too.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like,
I mean, you've done plenty of magic with me. The prayer part. The prayer part, I stopped, yelling at the spirits, and
I know you do. You do. See,
I get really humble and I get really quiet.
You do. That's interesting. So it's like reversed.
Maybe.
Like we kind of reverse that. Like I'm demanding.
Well,
I'm demanding with them. I'm like, this is what I want. Give it to me.
So it's not, I guess, when you're dealing with, let's say, your goetic spirit, you're not too wise to get humble and enter prostration in front of them.
No, that would not be good.
But in ceremonial magic, you're taught to be commanding with the spirits.
Yeah.
So that's why I do those things. Yeah.
I just figured that's what you're supposed to do. No one taught me that.
I mean, it feels like you're supposed to, right?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just like, yeah. I mean,
because I mostly work with with the planetary spheres, right?
Right.
So that's always comes from a place of humility, as I understand them as aspects of the one, right?
Okay. Which
so
is
I'm
also
dealing
aspects of yourself.
Aspects with God. Well, okay, so yeah, that's the thing. I think with the spirits, you're not talking about the planets or the henads, right?
Okay.
If you're going to be in Platonist speak, the henads, right?
Okay.
Or let's say the gods, right? So if there's like one creator god, the one or the thing that everything's a part of, right?
Right.
And then that is kind of segregated into the planetary spheres or the gods. It's kind of divided up. The decad, whatever, it's kind of divided up. And so you're really, really close. And so there, when you're approaching those, you're dealing with aspects of that oneness. And so there you're approaching from a place of humility, a place of humbleness. But then once you get below that into these like spirits that are carrying out, that are going, the daemons that are the in-between from the material and the celestial, that kind of stuff. That's when these things start to present as like, okay, how this spirit is expressing itself to me feels like it's a piece of my psyche or something. Like I feel like I'm seeing in the spirit what I want to see in the spirit.
Right.
And the spirit is presenting itself to me because I'm facing something within myself.
Right.
That's
sure. That makes sense.
But when I'm dealing with like Jupiter directly, I don't feel like I'm dealing like
it's like your great grandfather.
I have attributes, Jupiterian attributes within me as a human because I have God within me as a human, right? But it's like
the reverence is there because it's like it's so far removed.
When I'm dealing with like a spirit, it like not the dead, but any other kind of spirit, that's the one where I'm like sitting there and it's like, okay, feel like I'm confronting a piece of my psyche or something,
Yeah, I mean that makes sense because it's like that removal from the lineage, right?
Yeah.
Out. Yeah, I can see that, and I definitely can see that. I saw that, so I know what you're talking about. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. No, but it's still part of the one.
Yeah. No, it is still part of the one, right?
Yeah,
but you're getting like more removed from it, more divided up, and
just like how with your great grandfather, you're not that close to him, but you're still nice and respectful. You know, more so than you would be with like your dad,
your rowdy cousin.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that your rowdy cousin's that daemon, right? And then like
the demon.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right? Like it's like, oh, I know that I'm related to you, but I don't really know you that well, so I got to be a little bit more respectful and like kind of mind my P's and Q's, so to speak, right? Yeah, that makes sense. But I still think that I think your way of doing it is very similar to mine, except for a little twisted the opposite way. But I think that both of us, if we get results, we get results.
Yeah.
That's what matters, right?
Yes.
And also, like, what we're not asking for stupid shit either.
Oh, no, I ask for stupid shit. I do that all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
Awesome.
I do magic. Like, it's like, sometimes you got it just to see if you can do it.
Oh, no, I haven't.
I think the thing is, man, it sucks too. I don't think I've ever done anything that would be considered baneful, right?
Really?
And it's not from a moral position. It's just, it's not a thing where I'm like judging people that do it. And it's not a thing where it's like, I just know how I feel. And it's like, I get to a place where, oh, okay, like maybe I'm going to do something baneful. And then I'm like, but do I really want to? Because this is just going to make me feel bad, right?
I mean,
I'm just going to feel really shitty about this, I've never done anything like that. before?
I have, and I've never felt bad about it because it was deserved.
Yeah, see, I don't believe. I'm very much
There's certain things you can do.
Get theirs.
There are certain things you can do. Fuck with my kids.
Yeah. Oh, I guess you're right.
Watch the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like that's not gonna go well for you. And I don't want to go to jail, so how am I gonna get to you? I'm gonna get to you that way, and it will work. And let me tell you right now, that's the one thing like that I'll do it for.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're not worth my time. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna put that effort into anything else. But if you hit that core of me, like my core, like my kids, it's a game, gloves off. But that's so not a thing anymore for me. I don't have those people in my life, thank God. But yeah, like painful stuff. No, love magic, absolutely fucking not ever again in my life. That is where I learned all my hard lessons, and that was the first stuff I ever did in my life, and magic, and it worked immediately. And oh my God, what a horrible outcome it was. It was like, oh, I wanted this person in my life so bad. And then I couldn't get rid of that person. They were just, they tormented me until they weren't here anymore. For decades. And I couldn't and I was like, this is what I get. Cause I was 13 when I did it, and it lasted for 20 years. And I couldn't do it. I tried undoing it. I tried everything. Nothing worked. And I was like, and so I'm like, did I learn my lesson? No, I sure did. And I'll do it again. Did it again. And again, same thing. It was like, oh my God, what the heck? Now I learned my lesson. Never do that again. And that is considered baneful magic also, because it's fucking with somebody's free will. Right?
Yeah.
So I learned my lesson the very hard way twice. And I would never again in my life do that. It was stupid. Do not do love magic. I don't care what you're thinking about. Don't do it. It will not work out the way you want it to. Nothing you say,
the Pikatrix has
I know.
Really, really crazy love spells.
Yep. Like the one to cause, them to hate each other. The ones that cause them to love you and not ever leave you.
Well, there's one in particular where, basically it doesn't make the person fall in love with you, but it makes it so they can't sleep or eat.
Yep.
And their hair falls out or something
until they
come to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I know. And they work, and they fucking work. And then they will, what happens is that the minute they come back to you, you don't want them anymore. It's like this weird thing that happens where you're pining after somebody, and they come back, and the minute they're back, they're like a groveling idiot towards you, and they're gross to you all of a sudden. It's like, oh God, gross. And you can't get rid of them. And they're just on your nuts, crazy, won't leave you alone. Yeah. And then, or they become stalker, literally a stalker, and you are now in danger. So it's really fucked up. Don't do those kinds of spells. I'm telling you, it's not, you will not like the outcome. It's never worked for anyone ever. Ever has it ever worked? And then even if it did, just for a second, just rationalize with yourself for a moment. Why would you want to be with somebody that doesn't want to be with you? Because if someone left you and you're wanting them back, they didn't want you, so now you're why would you want somebody that doesn't want you? That's pathetic. Stop. And I'm guilty of this. I did this, and it worked out terribly for me. And then I get it again. Because, I thought, oh, I'll try it again. Maybe I'll do my thing where I account for all the possible outcomes. But I didn't account for one outcome, and that's the one that I ended up with. And it was oh my God, this is terrible. It wasn't as bad as the first one, but still bad enough to where I would never in my life ever do it again. So that's those kinds of things are not, I think that should be considered black magic. You
think it should?
Yeah.
Oh,
I do. Love spells, yeah.
Well, I know that within the community, the way people like to talk about it now, it's a consent issue or whatever. But
yeah, sure, fine, whatever.
I don't think they were
whatever goes.
I don't think that was a part of the conversation back in the Renaissance.
Oh, absolutely.
It's should we be doing Is this removing somebody's ability to consent using magic?
Yeah, nobody even knew what that meant.
Yeah,
it was like you saw a person.
What are those words you're saying?
Like a man saw a woman, like a child that he wanted and grabbed him, and that was it. Like that, you're done.
Yeah.
You know, that there was no consent. But I'm glad that, you know, in this regard, I'll take that. I'll take that as a good thing, because it's fucked up to do that to somebody. Yeah. And in the end, you're just screwing yourself.
Well, what do you think about attraction then?
So I think if you're if you're trying to attract a specific, so there's so that so there's two things here. Like, first of all, I've had people contact me trying to get me to do a love spell for them for someone they've never talked to before. Yeah. Like, this person doesn't even know they exist. And I'm like, what? Like, no, that's not going to work either, because like, they don't know you. You have no connection, right? There's no connection there. So it's not going to work. But if you want to be attractive in general, that's fine. Yeah. If you want to be attractive in a general sense and be able to pull somebody random, like somebody, not a specific person, that's fine. But if you're trying to get to somebody like specific, no. I still think it's bad, because what if that person doesn't like you? Yeah. Like, then, like, why are you forcing that? Like, but however, the kind of love spells, I guess, that would be acceptable would be the kind where it's like, okay, you have the consent of the person, the other person, and you're like, let's just, like, hypothetically, you have a relationship that's falling apart, but like both of you guys want to work it out or something for some reason. And then you're like, let's do a spell about it together. Yeah. You know, sure, that's fine.
There's a lot of those in the tomes. Like, is there? Yeah, you'll find a lot of like almost marriage counseling magic.
That's what it is. Yeah.
You know, if a man and a wife are, you know, having issues, do this, and they'll fall madly in love with each other, and
I mean, that's great if that works.
In each other's arms, and
if that would work, that's fine.
I was like, dude, that's like, it's crazy. It's like
they didn't have therapists back then.
You go to the magician for your marriage.
Well, if you're both going, then that means both of you are of the same mindset. Yeah. Unless one's forced, you know, like, and then that should be fine.
I mean, I can't think of any reason I would need that spell, but if anybody's marriage is falling apart, I would love to see if it works.
Right. Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
I'd be like, definitely. Hey, come here.
Yeah. We'll do this thing.
Let's do some magic. Let's see. You know, we can reignite that spark between you and your wife.
Placebo effect for days. Like, I'm telling you, like, that could be. Yeah. I mean,
actually, I could.
You could.
100% I could.
Yeah, you could.
I've got all tools.
You have all
in
the tools. You're like a master hypnotherapist now. I am. Yeah, you are.
It's crazy.
It is. I don't even know how to like express like how insane that is.
I feel like a different person.
You do?
Yeah.
You feel powerful now?
I do. I like walk around on this planet like none of these people know the power that I have.
It's totally true.
I just like walking around in public like
you have no idea
I could control your mind right now like, if I really wanted to.
You gotta try it.
I feel like yeah.
Oh my God.
This is the magic power that Luna invested in me.
This what?
That Luna invested in me.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't take it. Yeah, you gotta be careful.
She's giving me magic powers.
Somebody did.
When you put your eggs in the moon basket, I am what you get.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I don't know, man. I don't know that everybody would get that. Like, I think that this is, again, an innate thing that you have in you, and it got awakened.
All my, like, magic wizard powers have to do with, like, people's heads. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, their minds. It's crazy.
I wonder where that is.
Like, how I can, like...
You do.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I sound like a lunatic right now.
Yeah, no, but but I know what you're talking about, and it is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm here to feed in your delusion. What? I said, I'm just here to feed in your delusion. No, but it's true. It really is true. And it's like, sometimes I'm just like, am I imagining this too? Or is it real? No, it's fucking real. Like, it's crazy.
It just keeps compounding.
Yeah, it does. I know.
I want some I know, but I want some magic powers from the other ones too.
Okay, well, what do they give you?
I don't know. That's what I'm finding out. I found out.
Oh, I know what you're gonna get soon.
A month ago or 2 months ago that that I know how to hypnotize.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna get soon, though. I told you.
I had no idea.
I know what's coming next.
You know what's coming next?
I told you.
I can shoot
You're gonna
fireballs.
see. You're gonna
That's
see.
the one that
You're
I
gonna
want.
see.
I want to do the Kamehameha.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, you can shoot people across the room like with your
Yeah.
chi.
I can go Super Saiyan.
Yeah. You're gonna start seeing. I told you.
Oh yeah. I don't know about that.
You don't know about that? Just
No.
wait.
I feel like that's a Saturn thing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just saw that that's what's gonna happen.
Because he's 10th house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about that. So,
Yeah.
but that's what I saw. That's what I saw.
Okay.
So start to see things,
Yeah.
which is fun.
I mean, I already have, right?
Yeah. When?
I just feel like the activity's picked up a lot recently.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or here back here. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially here.
Yeah. Oh no, my house too.
At your house, yeah.
Yeah, that can of soda.
Like catching ghost fleas at your house, bringing them back home.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, like I don't know, man. That was nuts. So that happened, and that happened. I told you. Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's starting already. I said it a while ago. See, these are the things we gotta like. I gotta take better notes. I gotta like write down when I tell you stuff because then I can be.
This is what I'm talking about. So like you're all into gatekeeping, and you're like, you're born psychic and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
and I'm here, guys. I'm living proof. You can be dull as hell, but if you hit the books, you pray, you meditate, and you give back to your community. You
had psychic ability all along.
You too can see ghosts.
You're in denial, but it's okay. I was there too once.
Yeah.
I was there also, but
What?
yeah, you're in denial. Like you've had this the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah, you have. It's just you just were ignoring it or like you were trying to snuff. You did the same thing I did.
What?
Had the ability.
I've always
scared of it.
I've been looking for ghosts since I was like 5 years old.
Why?
And it was funny too because
since you were 5 years what 5-year-old
I dated
wants to see ghosts?
Well, they put ghost books in the like library
right
for 5-year-olds. So
sure.
it's like
what
they're
5-year-old reads books these days?
Maybe these days. This was the 90s,
Okay.
We still read books back then.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we liked books.
The good old days, yeah.
Yeah. It's like you go outside and you hit each other with sticks and then you go inside and you read some books that you checked out of the library.
Checked out of the library. Those fun times.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's one summer. God, this is getting so off track. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this.
But, spell work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that regardless of what you do, as long as it works for you, it works. And you got to believe it. It's going to work. You believe it's going to work because you think other people have already carved that path out and therefore it works, right?
Yeah. I think, I mean, one of the things that I kind of do believe in, though, is that anybody who says that the occult isn't real or magic isn't real hasn't tried it. Because I think that if anybody sat down and honestly did it, like if one of the ones from the tomes, right, that I like, if I gave you step-by-step instructions, like do this, even if you didn't believe in magic, some shit would happen to you that would make you believe in it.
Okay, sure, it would, but people would be able, like, I think that there's a way that people can gaslight themselves into thinking that it's a coincidence or whatever. However, there are scientists now proving that have been actually for 20 years, actually, and their work's just not been published or whatever, like proving that it's real in labs. So there's that. So, just go look up some you know, it's called anomalous phenomenon. That's what it's called. It's not called magic. Well, actually, some of Dr. Radin's stuff is entitled magic. So, but you can find it. It's out there. You look up anomalous experiences or anomalous phenomenon or what is the other one called? Dang it, there's another one. I can't remember what it is. It's like extraordinary. Maybe it's extraordinary experiences. I can't remember, but there's some other terminology. So that's why a lot of people can't find it, is because it's not called that.
Yeah.
With regards to research, but there's research done on it, and they've determined time and time again that like it actually exists. And actually, in the most recent experiments that I've been looking into, there's the one that they found out, which I think is awesome, is that when it comes to being able to manifest an outcome, magicians are better at it than people that meditate. Like, so people that meditate are like what you said about like internal process, right? Whereas magicians are able to focus outwardly much better than people that meditate.
Yeah. So I think that's what Franz Barton's magic is specifically really good. I mean, Golden Dawn and Franz Barton's magic, which is Bardonian magic, really, really focuses on or training that hyper focus, laser focused kind of like visualization, manifesting with visualization kind of thing.
That's what I do.
And so I think like definitely, because there's like, if you go into the East, there's a lot of meditation that's like that too. Right. But it's just when you go to the yoga studio here in California, it's the guided, it's either the guided meditation or the Zen, or like you're clearing your mind.
Yeah, who can do that?
Or you're watching you're watching your thoughts and that kind of stuff. And that's a completely different outcome.
Yeah, like, I can't do that.
You're trying to do something different there.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. I manifested a fucking Mercedes.
It's funny though.
Way.
There's the group meditation that I go to on Wednesdays sometimes. So the first half of it, somebody in the group, like every week is different. Somebody picks a guided meditation, and then the second half is like silent meditation, right? And I swear sometimes these guided meditations, because they'll get it off those guided meditation apps, and I swear some of them are like Golden Dawn meditations.
Yeah.
Like it'll be like a Kabbalistic cross visualization or something. It's like, and there's a light orb above your head, and it goes down into your chest, and it's and I'm just like,
isn't that what all of them say?
This is literally a Kabbalistic cross that we're listening to.
Like that's all guided meditations say
guys, you're doing magic right now. Like
so many people do magic without even knowing that they're doing magic.
Well, it's funny too, because I think about that all the time, about all those Protestant pastors that are like, Dungeons and Dragons teaches how to summon demons, and yoga is magic, and I'm just like, not wrong. Like,
so what they're doing is they are also engaging in magic, doing evil eye shit. When you are focused on something you hate and dislike, some person you dislike, some coworker that you're envious of, jealous of, whatever, you don't like them, and they live rent free in your head, right? That is you, that you are actually sending out, like you're doing the same shit.
Yeah.
You're like, when you hyper focus on something that you dislike, you're doing spell work right there. You're sending out some negative shit into the environment after that person without even realizing it. So
I think that if anybody has any doubt, though, I feel like we could show them. Yeah, we'll show them.
Yeah, just hang out. Like I tell people all the time, don't get mad at me when you hang out with me and you see some shit that like happens, because it will happen. Like,
no, but I mean, like we have a repeatable process.
Well, partially.
What do you mean partially?
I mean, you got to have the right element.
What's the right element?
I don't know. What do
you mean, setting?
Well, you got to have the right people doing it.
The right people doing it. Yeah. I know. No, I'm saying like we could take this show on the road.
Yeah.
We could charge people like
Oh God.
Yeah, $100. You want to talk to a spirit?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, I don't do that.
We're
No,
going straight back to the Victorian seance, dude.
That's
Straight
like
back.
what I literally just had that the other day with a
I'll
client.
get a handlebar mustache.
Yeah, and
I'll start wearing a pocket watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And swinging it in front of
And
my
then you'll
face.
get like the
the
turban.
turban. I
Yeah.
have one at home. It's gold. It's
You're like,
yeah. The spirits are like my eyes rolling in the back of my head. Yes. No thanks.
Yeah.
That stuff it's a lot. It's really
What?
exhausting.
No, yeah. I mean, we're still recovering.
Yeah, like I mean,
Still
it's
recovering.
exhausting.
It is exhausting. It's so exhausting. I was taken to the edge, man. Taken to the edge. And it's weird. So the dynamic that we're doing is you're the medium.
Right. So I'm not affected by these things like that.
And I'm the conjurer. As the conjurer, I'm getting reamed mentally.
Yeah. And I'm trying to tell you.
And as the medium, you're getting reamed physically. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like exhausted after, like seriously exhausted. Like that one day I woke up and I felt like I literally got hit by a car. Like I was like, oh, every muscle in my body hurt.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what the like what happened last night? I even had bruises on me, like from what? I don't know. Like I was just like, what the hell? But it was weird. It is tiring. And I had headache for like 2 days straight over my left eye. It was like killing me to the point where I actually even took Motrin, and I try not to do that. But like it was bad. But mentally though, I can see all the things right through it. It's very clear to me. And I have and they don't have any desire with me at all.
Yeah.
Then like I'm just facilitating.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
And it's been interesting. I'll say that definitely. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Well,
but I think this is a good for you. I hope everybody has had a good solstice.
Yes.
If you did it, and Christmas and New Year's and all that shit. 2025 looks like it's going to be amazing. It's like, God knows what's going on in our world these days, right? Who knows? Maybe
mass hysteria is going on. That's what's
is it? No one's even hysterical. Like that's the thing. Everyone's like, whatever, dude. You guys, this is the government. Like everybody's like,
they are
whatever.
Hysterical. This happens all the time.
You said that. I don't know.
UFOs. I swear it happens.
But
all
they're
the time.
like, I mean, right now they're actually visible to like everyone.
I believe in UFOs, and I'm telling you that this shit is.
I don't think it's UFOs. Do you think it's UFOs?
There's a lot of people think it's UFOs.
Really?
I think this is mass hysteria, 100%.
I'm seeing people going like, do we have to pay bills still?
Yeah.
That's like the biggest question is, do I still have to go to work?
I still have to go to work.
Like, do I have to pay my mortgage?
I quit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe one day that will be the case. Yeah. But until then, we'll have to just wing it and see what's going on. But hopefully it's not going to be mass hysteria. Hopefully it's just going to be like the same shit, a different year.
Yeah. So I think we're at an hour and 30 minutes right now. Good. But I think so we have a few episodes that are unlocked or locked down in the vault.
Yeah.
One of them is on the divine feminine.
And we haven't put that one out.
We haven't put that one out because it got real political.
Oh, like, shit, that's super right. Because it couldn't not.
It couldn't not. So I think the next one, it would be fun for that episode. Oh, we wouldn't be able to publish though. I was thinking that we could like watch clips of it and then talk just, about it. Spit out, just like blah blah blah.
Because it's like so
a commentary
bad.
Almost.
Yeah, Harvard.
So I think we're gonna do either. We should do the divine feminine. We should retouch it.
Right. Yeah. I'll dial it back my
because I'm a
commentary. That bullshit.
Yeah. I mean I'm back in the divine feminine again right now, but I'm in the really dark, chaotic part of it right now.
Mm.
Whereas like the last time I was in it was like the serene kind of tranquil part of it.
The calm before the storm.
Yes, or the cathartic part of it,
Yeah.
like the yeah.
It's always.
And now I'm in the like.
Now you're in the fucking hurricane. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm in the fucking.
The vortex
shit.
of doom.
Damn, dude. What did we walk into? Fuck.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us. We're picking back up. We'll do a Divine Feminine next week, and we will keep you posted on the development of our experiments.
Yes.
Probably gonna start piecing stuff together into a blog just to keep people posted on what's going on without revealing our techniques.
Yeah, not yet.
Because those are for the grimoire.
Yeah. A gatekeeping.
Yeah. All right. Till next time. Thank you, Dr. Stone.
Thank you, Abammon.
You've been listening to Discourse, where we venture into the mysteries of esotericism, the occult, and the depths of spiritual exploration. I am Abammon the Great, joined as always by Dr. Anna Stone, bringing the insights of both practitioner and scholar to guide your journey. Remember, the path of wisdom is illuminated by both knowledge and experience, and each step brings new discoveries. Until next time, continue your exploration and stay attuned to the unseen.